How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. So this is part 2 of creating the neighborhood protection plan. Now this one is going to be a little more admin and might get you out of your comfort zone a little bit, and then we're going to elaborate later on, but we have to get past this point or this initial video before we can progress at all anywhere else. And what do I mean specifically by that? Talking to your neighbors, actually interacting with them. That's the hard part about creating this, is get going. You need to put some time and effort into this, because if you don't, it's not going to be worthwhile. But if you put a lot of time and effort into a program or something, more than likely it's going to turn out successful, especially if you keep progressing and gathering more people. So let's initially get into that. How do we do that? First off, first thing is talk to your neighbors that you already know, the ones that you've already built a relationship with, or maybe even just talk to or know of. Because those ones you've already done kind of the hard work of building rapport with them and getting to know them. That allows you to have more leeway on maybe conversations, what can you talk about, current events, all kinds of stuff like that. So start on that. Next, you want to invite them over for a party, barbecue, football game, kids hanging out, something, whatever it is, some kind of gathering. Maybe you can put on at your house, maybe the community center, whichever it is. Have them come over and just talk to them and build rapport with them. Yeah, you already may know them, but you may not know the details, like, hey, where does this person work? What do you do? Do you enjoy it? Are you moving? How long have you been here? Those kind of stuff to build rapport. Don't go all in and being like, hey, if the power goes out and there's riots, do you have enough food at home to keep your family safe? That's very direct and can kind of push you away. You gotta be kind of classy in a way and be proper and build rapport with these people when you want to talk to them. Unfortunately, you can't just come out and ask a lot of the times, because they'll push you away. That's what I'm trying to elaborate on. So invite them out to a fire, barbecue, something like that, and then slowly interject basic questions about them, like I said. Next, you're going to ask about, hey, current and past events. What do you think about, this situation that occurred in this city that, they didn't have power for this amount of time, or there was a fire that came in. I feel bad for all those people that didn't have a plan. We're pretty well good. I'm pretty well good to go. And then maybe kind of hook a way into them. They're like, oh, wait, you said you were good on that kind of stuff? I mean, a fire came through here and you would be okay with that? And then you can kind of elaborate and be like, well, yeah, I mean, we have basic stuff for my family set up, and would you be interested in learning how to do that? That kind of talk can literally get your foot in the door to establish, this type of stuff. And majority of the time, psychologically, the male is normally, in a way, the head of the household. Now I get it, females often are. Like myself and my wife, we're pretty well equal, 100% in our relationship and in our home. But what I mean, at least in my aspect, is decision making, certain things like the physical stuff of bringing things up and whatnot, that normally resides in my boat, while my wife takes care of the more tedious things, stuff like that. So when you start taking control of your family as maybe a male, and other females, like I said, can do this, but it's kind of your responsibility to take after your family. So when you start doing that, you might bring up a flaw or something in their mindset of man, I don't know what I would do in that kind of situation. You can allow that kind of psychologically to push them to ask what you mean by that. Kind of went down the rabbit hole on it, but let's keep progressing on. So anyways, establish and talk about a neighborhood watch. Neighborhood watch is a pretty solid program that is all over, at least here in the United States and probably other countries or something similar. That word is very not intimidating because we're so used to it. We see the signs all over the place. You drive into a neighborhood and for this neighborhood is protected by Neighborhood Watch, and it shows the little sign and everything. People are pretty common or okay with that. So if you kind of elaborate, like, yeah, I was thinking about setting up a neighborhood watch program, people are like, oh, that's cool. But in reality, you're going to set up neighborhood watch, but more extreme, like maybe the Minuteman kit and having a fire protection plan and having like, what if the power goes out? What happens if this, very elaborate that you can kind of continue down and getting more and more serious as you go. So next, so the step 3 is we've already done with people you don't or do know. Now you need to speak to the people you don't know. This is the hardest part, is honestly talking to neighbors that you've never talked to, or like, oh, those people don't, like, they never say hi to me or blah, blah, blah. You need to put yourself out there and honestly knock on the door and go, hello, I'm your neighbor. Just wanted to get to know you real quick. I saw someone outside your house the other day, never met you before. Just trying to say hello. Right there, you're putting yourself out there. And mainly more intellectual based people are going to kind of realize that, like, hey, why is this guy randomly putting himself out there and being really nice? It's weird. Does he have an underlying kind of thing, or is it just like he's genuine about it? And be genuine about it. Just like, hey, I just want to get to know you. I don't know you. If something would happen, maybe we could help each other out. Boom. Simple as that. Flyers as well. If you go door to door, don't get in contact, set up a flyer and put it in their mailbox or at their door or something. Hey, I want to establish a neighborhood watch program. I'm not in charge of this program, but I just want to get people together so we can, protect our kids and protect our neighborhood from, some of the scary stuff that's going on. Most families are probably going to go, that's probably a pretty good idea because I've been watching the news and things are getting kind of crazy. So they're more willing to, kind of go down into that aspect. After you do that and you kind of, do another party and whatnot, like the people you don't know, invite them over, do the same thing you did for the people you know, but then bring them all together and have that conversation. Then after you have that, it's time to set up your first neighborhood protection plan meeting or neighborhood watch based meeting. You need to go over topics, all that kind of stuff. That is going to be in the next video that I'm going to produce, is what do you talk about in the very first meeting? How do you establish it? How do you do elections? Who's in charge? Who's in charge of this? Are you going to have people that are more on board and people that are kind of like, they want to sit back and reap the benefits while you guys do all the work, but they still want to be like, hey, I was here at the first meeting, but I never did anything, but I was here, that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about that as well. So like I said, this is kind of the admin portion of how to build those relationships. I get it. It's not very glamorous right now. We're going to get into the more tactile stuff that I know you guys want to see, but this stuff has to happen before you can progress. Kind of like that crawl, walk, run. We're at the crawl phase with creating a protection plan, neighborhood protection plan, and then we'll get up into the whole Minuteman kit series and kitting out your people and setting up TCPs and barbed wire and having entry control points and being like, oh, you're not on my entry authorization list. You're not allowed in this neighborhood because an event occurred. All that stuff we're going to get into. So if you guys like this kind of stuff and want to see more, definitely hit like, subscribe, throw a comment below. What are you looking forward to in this series? Because there's going to be more videos. If you guys want to donate, we have PayPal and Patreon if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine too. Not trying to get rich, just as it's an option. If you don't want to, that's fine too. Just keep enjoying the content. That's why I'm creating it. So other than that, I hope y'all have a great day.